There's so much going on. Hello, guys. Okay, I'm just live on YouTube as well, and I'm also live on the Inspired Keys Academy Facebook group. Hello, everybody. Thank you for your patience. I know I am 6 minutes late. It's just pure bad planning. Basically, I teach these, I give piano lessons at home, and then I'm doing this live Q&A right after my lesson. So what happens when someone wants to tell you stuff after the lesson? That takes up another 5 minutes, which then pretty much takes up the time that I have to set up. So thank you so much for your patience. I'm actually just setting up my Cordy app so that now people in the world of YouTube can see my Cordy app. Yay! So now whatever I play, you should be able to see that on the Cordy app. And that way we can proceed with our members only live Q&A. Welcome, welcome. So for those of us who are new-ish to the way we do this, this is how it works. Basically, Inspired Keys Academy members are welcome to ask Worship Keys questions of any sort. It could be a question, it could be a recording of the way they play, and then as they share it with me over email or inside the Inspired Keys Academy Facebook group, I will use this live Q&A session to give them feedback for their playing, or even to answer questions from Inspired Keys Academy members only within the group. So at this point, I can see that we've got David joining us, we've got Bo joining us. Hello, hello. Thank you so much. I know both of you are in the US. I actually see a third person, but I don't know why I'm not informed of who you are. So sorry if I can't acknowledge you. There's no way I can click and it doesn't reveal to me your name, but I can see Bo joined. I can see David liked the comment. And for the rest of the world on YouTube, if you're not sure what I'm talking about, basically, I am answering people's questions. Hello. Thanks for saying hi. Inspired Keys Academy members, you're welcome to just pop in any question right now. People on YouTube, if you're watching this as well and you're not sure how to ask a question, if you post a question on the YouTube chat, I will not be looking at that chat. This is an Inspired Keys Academy members Q&A only, but you are very welcome to join the Inspired Keys Academy at inspiredkeys.com/join, and that way you could come in and whoa, that's loud. And you could join. And cool, Natalie and Manyan, great to see you guys again. I'm just gonna pop in the link to join the Inspired Keys Academy. Join the Inspired Keys Academy. Cool, okay. So let's get started. Basically, Inspired Keys Academy members who are watching this live, David, Bo, and anyone else watching that is not showing on my screen, so I can't acknowledge you, you're very welcome to ask your Worship Keys questions now. I want to honor your presence and your attendance by taking time, precious time, wherever you are in the world. I know that both of you are based in the US, and this is probably not an awesome timing. I know the morning of Melbourne, Australia is usually a little bit strange elsewhere. So if you have a question, I want to make sure I answer your question first. But if I don't see any question being posted, I will then go ahead and answer questions that were asked previously. And at this point, because I don't see any questions being posted up yet, you're very welcome to post them now inside our Facebook group chat. If you don't ask, I shall then proceed to check out the question that I have. And basically, I am ready to answer a question from John. And John is a new Inspired Keys Academy member. Woohoo! And basically, he shared a medley of his of different songs, worship songs. And John's actually really pretty advanced, if you ask me, but there are ways that he can still improve in his playing. So I'm going to go ahead and press play to his recording right now, and then we could have a listen. Just going to quickly, press play, and we should be able to hear it. All right, so guys, thank you so much for listening together with me. I was just kind of analyzing, and I know there are quite a number of songs that John has actually stringed together. And woohoo, David, great to have you as well. Basically, John, I was just reading his email as well, and there are some specific. Adam, awesome having you. So great having quite a little crowd today. I'm listening to a recording by John, who has sent it in. And he would like some feedback. A very classic question that John's also asking is he doesn't really know what to do with his left hand. Also, as you can hear, if you were with us for the last 2-3 minutes, we can hear that John was playing a lot of melody on the right hand and left hand playing the chords. You know, John, I actually feel that from listening to what you're playing, you're not just playing the root all the time. You were doing a couple of passing notes going up, walking up and down. So that's really, really awesome. It's pretty advanced. But 2 specific things I want to help you with in today's live Q&A. I want to demonstrate, number 1, how I will play them in accompaniment style. And number 2, maybe some ideas on what to do with the left hand. Now, one big thing that I am noticing in the sound of your, the speed of your playing is it is on the fast side, and this is not right or wrong. What's important is it needs to be what your congregation is used to singing. So if everyone's sort of used to playing singing at that speed, go ahead and play it at that speed. I'm just thinking back to all the times I sang those songs. They're usually slightly slower. And so I hope you don't mind if I'm going to play with just an accompaniment only version. So my right hand's not going to do the melody, which is what you did, and you did amazingly. But then I'm going to play it a little bit slower. And if you really need it faster, then tell me. But oh, I remember in your email, you were like saying, please play it slower, and so that you can follow along. And I would love to do that. So what I'm going to do now is going to just go back to the recording, and I'm going to press play so that I can remember what key you were playing and what song as well. So let's just go ahead and listen to that first song, because I think we have about 5 to go through. Okay, so basically, John, what you're doing is pretty amazing, because you are currently combining the right and left hand together. But what would like you to try and do now. Okay, so that's a key of C major. I'm just going to change this on chordy. And you know you're doing an amazing job. Just do a little bit less. Don't play the melody on the right hand. So da da da. Da. Sorry, you just like to change this function so it doesn't sustain on overlay. So. So John, that would be the first way I play it, where it's sort of as minimal as possible. There are a lot of chord changes to the song, but I'm purposely just playing sort of one chord, so it's a little bit sparse. If it goes to a repeat, then I will up my frequency of chords. And I'll also probably move my range higher. That I was kind of constraining all that to around the middle C and lower area. Now I'm going to spread my right hand to chords with voicings that are a little bit higher. And here we go, second time. Da, 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 so what I was doing with my left hand, I kind of wish I have like a multi-camera thing so you can see what my left hand's doing. But basically, you hear that dum, 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 dum. That was what my left hand was doing. I'm playing right hand and then left. So this is what I'm doing. Left hand with my pinky on the low note and the thumb playing that alternating C on the top, middle C. So I'm doing da, 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 right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. So John, here's another idea of what you can do with your left hand. I feel you're already doing this. Your hands are kind of sharing 3 layers already. Between your right and left hand, what I heard was you are doing bass on the left hand, melody on the right hand, and both hands kind of sharing the chord with the rest of the harmony. So just kind of, maybe I'm just giving ideas on what you can do in terms of patterns. Da, 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 da. So once again, I was like, okay, let's see if we can do a repeat of the chorus with an more emotionally surging version. And I wanted to give you some ideas on what your right hand can do. Instead of just playing primarily chords that are comping on the regular beat, you could go into some I'm not like strictly not playing my melody line. I feel sometimes I'm very tempted to even add in a like floral chordal version of my melody line at some point, like da, 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 da. I feel like that's actually a good place to do the da, 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 da. So that was like da, I kind of sneaked in a little bit of the melody, but harmonized it with more chords on the right hand so that it sounds a little bit harmonically fuller. And I'll be very honest, I actually know the tune to this and I can't remember what the name of the title is. If anyone's watching this, please kind of fill me in with the title. Great, I am just looking at our chat. Nobody's asking questions yet. Inspired Keys Academy members, remember I am honoring your presence here. I should probably type this in. Hey guys, please ask Georgia Keys questions by typing it here. Don't wait. Okay, yeah, so that way, I want you to know that I want to answer your questions with priority if you are joining us live, okay? But because I don't see any questions yet, I'm still coming back to John Young's question, which is for some feedback on the way he played. So John, I hope you found the first song helpful. I'm going to jump onto your second song now. Da, 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 da. These are awesome hymns, but I confess, I just cannot remember the tune, the title. Okay, so it's deep. Sorry, I should probably change the key here as well. There's lots of little stuff to do. Continuing from there. Slower version. Something like that. I mean, I was just throwing in even more like fancy chord ideas where I kind of played some 4 minor chords. In this case, that would be G minor. Throwing in a couple of B flats where I know will fit. Just some alternative harmonization ideas. What did I want to say? Sorry, I know I want to say something. I'll probably remember how to. Oh, awesome. There are more questions from people now. Cool. Adam, thank you. And Bo, what I'll do is I'm just going to finish up John's question and answer your question separately. So thank you for your patience. Going to move ahead with the third song from John. Holy, holy. Okay, great. Let's try that one. this, it's a very anthemic version. So my tendency is I feel it's quite okay to play it very much in line with the melody line. I kind of play quite a bit of a melody in my right hand anyways. But otherwise, if you play it really still, you could still try a version that's really quiet. I remember what I would say just now. So John, what I want to try and hear you improve in also is the way you, your tone is pretty, from what I hear in the recording at least, it's pretty strong the whole time. What I want to hear is maybe you can alternate between soft touches for those gentler and quieter moments or meditative moments. And then when you build up to something a little bit louder and stronger, which is what you currently do. I do find myself telling this to a lot of male students. It's just, you know, God's gift to you, like strength, but then control it so that there is contrast. And it's not always strong, strong, strong. Because when that happens a bit, like we get, like it's monotonous because there's too much of the same thing. In the same way for all the people who like to play softer and meditative, it will get boring if you keep having that kind of tone. So I try to consciously tell myself, look, we're doing a second time, let's make it stronger. Let's build the song and grow from small to big, from soft to a bit stronger. And so just keep that in mind. Like, I mean, if you want to do a quieter version of Holy, Holy, Holy. And I almost feel like I'm playing a Christmas song because there's just so much jazz chords in there. Cool. I'm gonna go straight on with the next song. I believe it might be the fourth song. Da 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 da. Hang on. I don't know why this C is appearing. Yes. Okay. Great. So, in Christ alone. That's right. Just like a hymn, when you have stanzas, it gives you a lot of opportunity to grow into very dramatic and anthemic. But then the classic thing is to do that at the second last stanza, so that at the very last stanza you have room to just die and get really quiet. So I'm going to try and do a really, really grand version. I'm not doing anything too differently in a harmonic way this second time, but I'm definitely trying to put in more energy so it comes across louder dynamically. This is probably F or FF, fortissimo, so it's something definitely as a contrast to the first version. I'm gonna go ahead with your last song. Let's see what that is. I can't remember. Okay, As the Deer. Perfect, awesome song. This is, to me, it's a very like gentle and quiet song. So I'm gonna try and see how I'll do it like 2 ways, but softer and then growing. Something like that, just kind of jamming along and thinking of, once again, the jazz chords that you can do at every of the 2-5-1s. If you want me to talk more about these 2-5-1 moments in where you can throw in some jazz chords, please type it into the chat or reply to let me know. So I really hope you found that helpful, John, when you watch the replay. I know you can't join us live right now, and that's completely okay. And thank you so much for the patience that the rest of you are giving right now. I'm going to jump right into Adam's question. Adam says, hi, I've been playing pad sounds from Worship Essentials, and the notes are very loud and painful when you get higher than C5. Does anyone else have this problem? Okay, so Adam, thank you so much for your question. A lot of this depends on the settings as well. So I'm not sure about whether your mod wheel is being pushed all the way up, because that does get pretty overwhelming. You might want to make sure that your mod wheel is down. And also some other settings. When you say it's very loud and painful, I'm actually not sure which instrument you're talking about. I am guessing it's something like the pad, because when the mod wheel goes up, the pad starts sounding like a synth. Another thing to think about would be things like the compressor. Is it jacked up all the way high? Is your synth tone quite high as well? So Adam, if you are here, please reply to these questions, and I'll be happy to answer them based on your circumstances. I guess what I'll do is wait for Adam to reply, because, or maybe, I'm not sure if you're actually here with us, but what I will probably do now is to show you my Worship Essentials. And just to show you some things that you can do that can make it very overwhelming, but some things you can also do that will make it not overwhelming. So I guess what's really helpful now is if I change my screen share from Cordy to main stage. Just give me a sec. Sweet. Now I'm going to share with you. The YouTube world should be able to see. Yes, now. Yep, should be able to see my Worship Essential screen. So cool. Yep, Adam, no reply from you yet. Cool, only playing pad sounds. Yeah, okay, great. I kind of guessed. Okay, so right now I'm on my Worship Essentials. I have just the piano and pads patch, which is the first one. Just going to show you what I mean. So I'm just jacking up my pad. So as you can see, okay, if I would just use pad, right? So I'm just going to mute my piano. I'm just doing like the middle C, above C5, right? Did you mean C5 meaning, so that's C3, C4, C5? Ooh, if I'm not wrong, Adam, this is what you mean by C5. It's, yeah, it's pretty high, but this is my mod wheel all the way down. So if I were to play just C, D, G, but if I were to jack my mod wheel up, the sound starts becoming like, so Adam, I have to say you are right. It is pretty high. I guess the question will be, number one, is your mod wheel up? Because usually that kind of screams a lot. Number two, what are you doing at C5, which, if I'm not wrong, I am at 2 octaves above middle C. That range is pretty high. I would probably only use it with maybe very selected sections. I won't overdo it too much there unless it's a really dramatic moment and everyone's like super high. Adam doesn't sound at all. No, the mod wheel is not up. Pad sounds, mod wheel is not up. Okay, Adam, in my opinion, when the mod wheel is not up, which in this case is my my setting as well with just the pad. Okay, there's another thing that I want you to try and do. I definitely won't be able to comment as well as if it was Abel Mendoza who created the template, but I'm just telling you from what I've played around with. I'm not sure if you turn down your synth tone, which is right at the top right of the center. If I were to turn my synth tone down, it's pretty much very muted. If I were to just go it up to 12 o'clock, in my opinion, Adam, by turning the synth tone down to 12 o'clock, which means reducing it by 50%, to me, that kind of helps. Yeah, it is quite loud, but when the mod wheel's down and if the synth tone is reduced by 50%, I find it really helps with cutting down the volume and it's not so loud. Adam, go have a try and see if that helps, okay? When are the circumstances when I'll be using such a high range? It would probably be at a very, very loud moment. Maybe, you know, one of those moments when you're repeating a lot of one section, like the bridge or the chorus, and it's getting very dramatic. You're building and building and building, and then I might actually go into something really, really high. Okay, Adam says, I'll play around with it. Does Sunday Keys have different pad sounds? Yeah, to my knowledge, Sunday Keys has maybe 4 or 5 pad sounds. So go try them out. But remember these settings as well. The cool thing about using software is you have these ways of making it extra dramatic or non-dramatic. So make sure to check your mod wheel, check your compressor, check your synth tone. And maybe, Adam, don't go up to C5. Do C4, like the range within the octave above the middle C or something like that. Yeah, try that. Let me know. What you should do is think of alternative ways to then playing the C5 area. I would personally steer clear from the C5 area unless I have to. Usually it's reserved for just a moment or two, 1 or 2 repeats. I won't do it too much. Even if it's a very sustained kind of really, really dramatic moment, I'll do C5, but maybe come down to C4 and then go up to C5 again. Otherwise, there will be monotony that sets in. So this is just some advice from me. Yeah, cool. Thank you so much for responding. Let me know what else you might be encountering. But if I don't hear from you, I will jump on to Bo's question. Cool. Yeah. Thank you so, so much. Adam, just go ahead and respond, but I'll jump into Bo's question, and if I see any responses from you, I will jump back in. So Bo is asking, before the throne of God above. Cool, thank you so much. I confess I don't really know that if that sounds super well, so good old YouTube is here to help. Before the throne of God above. Cool, I think I just found the song. Please give me a moment to listen to the song. I hope I got the version right. before the throne. Oh, what is this song? I have a strong, perfect plea, great high priest whose name is love. Whoever lives in this form. I get it. My name is Raven. Oh my gosh, this is so funny. Okay. Thank you so much, Bo. Yeah, sorry. My instinct was you wanted me to play it. Thank you. That was quite funny. Yeah, sorry about that. I was like, oh, isn't that the song I just played? But yes, thank you. Before the Throne of God, an awesome song, isn't it? Yeah, sorry about that. So, Bo, I wasn't sure if you have a question to ask because I realized that wasn't a question you had. Sorry about that, but thank you. Yeah. Yes. So technically, I don't have a question from Bo to answer. Great. Gonna go ahead to respond to Adam. Adam says, just strange that the sounds are so intense higher on the keyboard with pads and synth. Piano, pads, and synth. Ah, right, and synth. Okay, now that could be the... Have you thought about lowering your synth volume, Adam? Because sometimes the synth can be very overwhelming up there as well. Piano doesn't have that problem. I'm going to worship practice now. Bye. That's fine. Thank you for joining. You can always watch the replay. But Adam, what I'm going to do is jump back into Worship Essentials. In that case, guys, I'm just going to change my screen share again on YouTube and change it to my main stage Worship Essentials. That way you guys can see what I'm doing. Okay, so present to everyone. Cool, cool. Okay, back into Worship Essentials. So this is my synth jacked up really high. Oh yeah, of course. So Adam, what's important is remember the synth tone thing. I'm just gonna assume worst case scenario 100%. Yeah, so Adam, basically this is the same observation that I have mentioned before when my mod wheels jacked up really high, as is the case, you can see from here, with my synth at 100%, with my volume 100%, and my synth tone at 100%, and my pad 100%, that does make the whole sound very screamy, and definitely not the best sound unless it balances well. So a few things. Mod wheel maybe down or at 50% or something. Synth volume, make it a 50% or something. Synth tone, drop it down to maybe 0. Doesn't make it sound anything. So 100%, 50% maybe. Or maybe even try set 70 or 80. Something like around here. And then maybe just see how that balances out. So basically, I'm only using that. Right. Okay, so no synth, right? Now, Adam, would you mind if you've tried the ways I've given you to reduce the tone and it still doesn't work? Do you mind just sending me a recording so I can hear it? And I wasn't sure which patch you're using as well, because currently I'm just using the first patch as a piano and pads patch. The more details you give me, the better, but I don't want you to be late for worship practice. So go, and you are very welcome to email me or post it into the Facebook group anytime you have a question on the sound. So cool, guys. I actually don't have any other questions from Inspired Keys Academy members over the week. I'm sure I'll try to get a video. Thank you so much, Adam. Appreciate that. Drive safe to worship practice. Woohoo! Peace. Peace to you too. Cool. So not sure if anyone else watching this live has any questions, like David or Bo. You're very welcome to pop it in. But if I don't see any more questions, I will be finishing this live Q&A because I don't want to take up anyone's precious time. I'm just going to jump into Facebook, our group, just to double check if there are any questions that I have missed out from there that were posted like just a few minutes before we start, because that way I will not be able to see your questions. So give me a sec as my computer loads, which is slow. Yeah, gonna go ahead and see this. Mark was asking a question. Maybe I'll just read this question real quick. Have an M Audio Hammer 88 and use a chord nano. Once mappings are set at a concert level, they should be saved for good, right? Usually, yes. I find this a little bit iffy. So you might want to just try it 4 or 5 times and see if the settings are saved. Mark, sometimes for me, the answer is no. It may not get saved. So then Mark goes on to say, sometimes when I close the concert and open it back up, the mappings are gone. Sometimes I unplug and replug the controller and they come back. Oh, gosh, this is my experience as well. Sometimes, wait, question is, am I saving the mappings properly or is there a step I'm missing? You know, Mark, if you hit Command S, it usually saves it. What I'm experiencing is that for about a year or so, it has been the same mappings and I haven't changed my mappings. Every time I plug my keyboard to my laptop, it's just the same way I've left it. But when sometimes it doesn't work, then I will take the time to remap. I guess the safest thing to do is before you set up for church and to serve in church, have a go at mapping everything again if you want to be extra safe. Okay. Robert says, as far as I remember, after you set the mappings, you should save the concert. If you also want a new set of mappings, then you save a new version of your concert. Yeah, Robert, that's a really good advice there. Thank you so much. Yeah, just Command S. Make sure you Command S the whole way through. Like, just do it obsessively, and you should usually be okay. Okay, cool. Bo asks a question, Sandra, you have talked about listening for the different layers of songs to get to. Okay, I believe you have more to say about that. I'm just going to give Bo some time to type her question. Please, Bo. Yeah, just gonna wait for Bo to reply. Figure out the sounds. Does that ability grow the more you listen? Yeah, cool. Thanks for your question. Now I get the context. Talked about listening for the different layers of the songs. Yes, figuring out the sounds. Okay, so Bo, what I want to ask in response to that is, are you referring to figuring out the sounds as in the instruments? So like hearing what the electric guitar is doing, or the guitar is doing, or the acoustic guitar is doing, what the piano is doing, what the pads are doing? Or are you referring to pitch? Like identifying the melody, like, oh, I can hear it's a da 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 da, that sort of thing. So referring to identifying instrument layers or pitch layers, like what the bass is doing, what the tenor, the alto, the melody line, the chords in between. So let me know about that. Oh, cool. So David's asking a question as well. So David, I'll get to your question in a bit. So this is awesome. I love it when people ask more questions. Waiting for Bo to respond, but while waiting, Bo, it was in one of your videos about using Mainstage. Cool. Okay, so I'm just going to assume you are referring to identifying different instruments, right? Tell me if I'm wrong, okay? Now, what I found that can be very useful is if you go to multitracks.com and just type that into our chat. And in there, they have these free, but just like maybe 30 seconds of a song, where you then see all the different instruments laid out one by one. And then you can like mute everything and press play and just listen to one instrument play its part for the 30 seconds. And then that way you can actually hear how in totality, being made up of all these layers, the song sounds as it is. So Bo, if you haven't already, go check it out. The pads and synth sounds easy. Yeah, cool. Yeah, go check that out, multitracks.com. Just pick a song. It then takes you into the sample, and then you get full access to it if you buy the track. But if you don't, you can still get the free demo where you see all the instruments laid out. Go play and then mute or solo some layers, and then you can hear how they sound. And I do believe, Bo, this comes with practice. What I recommend is to make sure you're listening to good quality audio, whether it means a very good set of speakers and you're sitting right in front of the speakers and like listening carefully, not multitasking, but really listening. Or a better way is to put on earphones, because then all the sound kind of goes in, and then you can listen to the layers. And yes, you are right. It is something that takes practice. You want to listen and then try to pick out what different instruments are doing. and it will help to repeat a lot. So just re-listen to a certain section maybe, and then try to figure out what everyone's doing. So another requirement is you need to know how the instruments sound. So sometimes there are even multiple of the same instruments. Like a lot of the songs nowadays have like 5 synth layers. But of course, some synth layers are only creating one kind of sound that only happen at the interlude kind of thing. So they don't play for 90% of the song. And then lots of instruments, songs now have like 3 electric guitars, 2 drum sets, that kind of thing. So you need to really know how the instrument sounds and then differentiate between them. I mean, if you're listening to that kind of a complex song, but if not, yeah, cool, go check it out. I'm really glad you found it helpful. But yes, you need to know how it sounds. And so I guess a prerequisite will be that if you get to serve in the band for a few times, or if maybe for years, then you're very familiar. That's the sound of the acoustic, that's the sound of the electric. And even electric, it's got all these pedals. I'm not sure if you have electric guitarists in your worship team who carry these awesome, cool looking pedal cases, and then they lay it on the floor. It's so colorful, and then they step on different things and they create the drive and the distortion and stuff like that. So that all these change the quality of the sound. I mean, electric just is very versatile that way. Acoustic kind of just is acoustic. There's nothing very fancy you can do with it most of the time. So go check that out. Go like poke your nose to into different instrumentalists in your band. Go listen to how they sound, and then really get to know how the instruments sound and the different capabilities of the instruments as well. That way you can really identify when you hear it. And yes, it does come with practice. Just give yourself a season, maybe a whole month of just listening to the tracks you're trying to analyze. Listen to it a lot. The more you listen to it, the more you like, oh wow, I didn't hear that the last time. And then it just becomes better. So when you have come to a point where you've done it so much, maybe in future you will be able to hear one time and then be able to like, okay, I could hear those 4 different instruments playing those 4 different things. One's doing da 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 da, the other's doing da 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 da. So then you can really differentiate it quickly and easily and accurately as well. Cool. Thank you so much, Bo. That was a great question. I'm going to jump on to David's question. There are many versions of a particular worship song to choose from. Full version, radio version, simplified version. What are your thoughts on picking an appropriate version to learn from? Okay, so David, that's an awesome question. I've kind of replied you by email, but I know you're asking because you want to benefit the whole community, so I will do that. Basically, David, I think, I'm just going to stop the screen share. Yep, hello YouTube, you can see me again. Basically, my thoughts on this will be pick, well, of course it depends on which version you guys are doing as a church, right? So if, for example, the worship leader says, guys, we're doing the live version, then you kind of don't have a choice. But if you have a choice, go for the version you like, because then it becomes more fun to practice with. If you are very industrious and diligent, then practice all 3 versions. The acoustic version, the live version, the radio version, okay? Because that way then you are very clear as to, oh, what are the structural differences of the song? How are the arrangements a bit different? I know like What a Beautiful Name has 2 million versions. You have the gospel, you have the a cappella, you have the acoustic, right? Go check them out. That will, if anything, it just makes you a better musician. It just helps you to differentiate and identify instrumentation and arrangements differently, and how they're different. But I guess maybe at this point I should just mention, from my observation, the live versions are usually more spontaneous in the sense that it's longer. They might repeat sections. It flows with the spirit, so it's a little bit unpredictable in that way. And definitely longer to practice, but great to practice the builds and the lowers and the lifts. So that's a good way to practice that kind of thing. Radio versions are very clean and concise. They're all sort of planned out, mapped out, usually not very reverby, so everything's very studio and in a sense more clear cut. So if you don't have a lot of time, the radio version is a good one. And then the acoustic version is where Your instrumentation is a lot less electric, so there's probably no electric guitar inside. It's very simple. It's got less layers, but that also might mean for something like a piano, you might have to play a bit more, or more pianistically, or more piano figurations. So go ahead and try that if you want something that's a little bit more instrument heavy, but as a band context is a lot lighter. Great. That's kind of all I have to say. David, let me know if you want to know more. But in the meantime, guys, I don't seem to have any other questions. So thank you so much for joining me today. Really appreciate your time as usual. If you are watching me from the general YouTube audience and you have a worship keys question you want to ask, you're very welcome to join the Academy at inspiredkeys.com/join. Because that way I can answer your question in the next live Q&A session. So thank you again. If you have any questions that I am unable to answer for now, members, you're very welcome to email me or to post the question on our Facebook group. Thank you again. God bless. Have an awesome weekend, the rest of you, and take care. God bless. Bye.